G'day from Bahrain at the end of FP2, and some amazing news today with almost everybody in this media centre being sent an email from somebody with purported text conversations between Christian Horner and a staff member. You've probably read about this already on the internet. I can just say to you now that there's no guarantee that what we've been sent is indeed real. And I think a lot of people have perhaps jumped the gun. I think we have to be very careful with what we say. It's very clear that somebody or a number of people are unhappy, very unhappy with the outcome of that investigation. The email that we got shows everybody else's address that was receiving this email, and it's pretty much the who's who of Formula One. Speaking to a couple of journalists in here, one told me that, you know what, I should be writing about Formula One, and I'm writing about anything but that. And it seems to have really sparked today with the release of this document that some people are not happy with Christian being there for one reason or another. And unless you're very close to the action, you're probably just guessing as to why. But Formula One is a big money sport. Soft drinks are a big money business. And as I said in my video of last night, things have changed since the death of Dietrich Mateschitz. Somebody mentioned to me earlier this morning that perhaps we hadn't heard the end of this saga, although at the time I did not think that we'd be sitting on an email the likes of which we have received today. Certainly everybody involved in F1 and the fans want to know what's going on, but I'm just not sure we're going to get to the bottom of this in any time soon. And what did this email contain? Well, it contained about 80 screenshots from a mobile phone. Lots of text messages, some images. I won't go into any more detail than that, but certainly you would not want this out there if you have done this. And I'll say this again, there is no guarantee this is real. This could just be a terrible campaign to try and out someone. I spoke to one of the Red Bull crew this morning and I said, how's the mood in the team now? And that person said, better. And I would have imagined that they thought things were over and they could get back to normal, because after all, they've got a championship to try and win this year. But come tonight, there's no doubt that out in that paddock, everybody is talking about it. And at the time of recording this, there's no answer. We don't know what is really going on. And a short time ago, Christian Horner made a statement stating he won't comment on anonymous speculation, but to reiterate, I have always denied the allegations. I wasn't planning to do anything on this, but I have been peppered with message after message from people saying, what is going on? So there is huge public interest, and for all the wrong reasons, unfortunately. So let's leave it at that and hope that we get some clarification on it shortly. So what else happened today? I had a chat with the hipsters.
If we can just see past the hipsters here taking some photos. Morning, hipsters.
This is Michel from the German newspaper Bild, and he was one of the hipsters, and this is his mate, Enrico. And those guys were out there doing a picture of some sort, and obviously attracted the great Ted Kravitz's attention. Ted's bit was on the Friday, and the guys didn't land back into their home countries until the Saturday, at which point they discovered that yes, indeed, they were semi-famous because of that post, and the newspaper thought it was enough of a story that they would do a story on it in their paper. It was lovely to see Gunther Steiner back in the paddock. He made his way into the paddock alongside very colourful RTL presenter Kai Abel. When they got to the middle of the paddock, one of the F1 people came out and jokingly said, give us a look at your pass. Gunther is now wearing a media pass, and of course in the past he's worn a team pass. I'll do more on Gunther in another video coming up this weekend. The drivers are often told or requested to wear certain sponsor items, and today Charles Leclerc was quickly told as he entered the swipe gates, get those black sunnies off, you're wearing these white ones, which are Ray-Bans, and they certainly stood out when he walked the length of the paddock. Oh, just behind me I've noticed that we have a new TV media pen. It's covered, and they all are typically covered, but last week for testing it was completely open and about 10 metres away from the back of the media centre. Now, thank you to so many of you who have sent me this clip from Simon Brodkin.
The cars stop 3 times a race, max, for a maximum of 3 seconds each time. So a hard day's work for the Jack guy, 9 seconds. gets £150,000 a year.
I actually contacted Simon and asked him if he was a Formula One fan. He admitted that, yes, he used to watch races with his dad and had been to a couple, but these days he just watches Drive to Survive. And thank you to those people who pointed out I pop up in episode 6 and 9 with speaking roles, first time.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
But two things stood out to me. One, Christian Horner doesn't say AlphaTauri, which is the way that we were told by the team to refer to it. Instead, he says
At AlphaTauri,
Claire Williams. I thought her insights were excellent. And then there's the issue of Danica Patrick. Why is there so much hate towards Danica? Just about every social media post I see has people arcing up at her big time. I'd be interested in your thoughts in the comments below. I don't have a problem with Danica, but clearly I'd say the majority of people watching that series do. Now, for those of you paying attention, you might have seen this fella with Lando Norris. Who was this? It's not his regular trainer, John Malvin. It's indeed Damien Kelly, who's standing in for John for just a couple of races. John will be back for those of you John fans. Watchers of the Paddock is back again for 2024, and I did happen to notice that the Bell & Ross watches from Alpine have gone. They have a new sponsor in H. Moser. Esteban Ocon was wearing this model worth around €40,000. And Valtteri Bottas had on this watch, which is not part of a sponsorship deal. This is something he's had a little bit of a say in. And what I love about this watch is it has a sub-dial that shows you whether it's day or night. Because, of course, where Valtteri lives, the sun can be up all day or it could be down all day. And I imagine that is a bit tricky to work out whether it is AM or PM. And still on watches, I just spent a couple of minutes talking to David Croft. He's at the track today. You might be thinking, hang on, isn't Crofty missing 3 races? He is, but they're Imola, Australia and Baku. Anyway, Crofty is wearing a watch that was interesting. It was a Brooklands, which I'd never heard of. The quirky thing about this watch is this area here around the inside of the watch is exactly the same degree of banking as was at the Brooklands racetrack. This is a new addition since testing. We have all these elephants up and down the paddock. They're made out of what looks to be like wicker, and the gist of the display is all to do with ecology and looking after animals. Now, there has been a lot of interest in young F2 driver Kimi Antonelli, in particular perhaps a seat coming up at Ferrari, and I took my first pictures of the youngster today here in the paddock this evening. This is what Kimi looks like. He drives for Prema alongside Oliver Bearman, who was in front of the garage over in the F2 paddock earlier today. Another thing worth noting, it is the 20th anniversary of this race, and the only driver on the grid to have featured in the first race is indeed Fernando Alonso. Well, it's been a crazy couple of days here at the Bahrain International Circuit. Hopefully things return to normal shortly. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching and stay passionate. Why do they have to shout? They're right next to each other.